Hello everybody and welcome to our new regular feature of the show, Multidrop Monthly. This is one I've decided to do. It's kind of in junction with the Circuit Mob who helped me out, so I'll be doing a few links to their videos, ones that I think might be useful. Also because a lot of you out there are doing the multi-drop, which is not something I really do. So what I've done is I'm drawing on the comments from people that have done the multi-drop and or are thinking of doing it, and things that could be useful to you guys because you're as much, if not more, a part of the courier driver thing than the rest of us. So here we go. So if you're on a multi-drop, these are some comments, hints and tips, just general. If you're thinking about doing it, this is how other people find it. So look, this is straight from the horse's mouth. This isn't so much me, although you probably will get me putting my four penny in, most certainly. Lee Westcott, because we had a guy recently who's a guy called Sean Richards who was doing a multi-drop, and he said he hasn't got time to breathe. He said, how do you find the time to make the videos? He says, Sean, you've answered your own question by saying you're a multi-drop driver, as not all delivery drivers have to bang out hundreds of deliveries a day. As I do large items like furniture, I average 3 to 4 deliveries a day with a 10-mile radius. I generally finish by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, still make more money than most multi-drop drivers. So this is something to bear in mind. It's not all Amazon, it's not all Hermes. There are other multi-drops out there that might make you more money for less time. Dave Cozzy says, I've seen both sides, multi-drop with no time to breathe, let alone make early starts. Lots of drops, eat dinner, fall asleep before EastEnders, wake up and start again. And then I drove for a small family-run distribution firm. Oh, mate, what a difference it makes. Time to stop, if not, better money, no nagging misses, plus I'm still awake for news at 10. Some of these comments I mentioned before on a Sunday Q&A, and I think they're very, very valid. I also said, though, at the time, you've got to bear in mind that not everybody has got the oomph behind them that they can just jump on a CX. I've spoke to people before that are doing the Amazon. I said, you don't need to be doing this. There's something better out there. And then they go, well, when do I get paid? I go, well, you've got to wait 2 months before the first invoice comes. It's like, I can't run for 2 months. I need to go. I've got a house, I've got a wife and kids, I've got a mortgage to pay. I'm not just going to turn around to the gas bill and say, I'll pay you in 2 months' time because, they're going to go, no. So it is something that a lot of people do on their build up to the second phase of courier driving. I also think with the multi-drop, it's like a baptism by fire. If you're not sure whether you want to do it or not, it's a good way to get started, because if you can hack the multi-drop, then everything else after that is a breeze. It's kind of like when you see them para programs. They put you through all kinds of hell, knowing that when you're finished, pretty much anything you're going to encounter in the normal day-to-day running of being a soldier is nothing in comparison to the stuff that they're going to put you through. So, or certainly not when you're intense, or at least that's the way I believe it on the TV. And I do recommend, if you are on it and you are new to it, get yourself a decent multi-drop app. I recommend Circuit. We will do the links. It's very good. Nice catch, it says, on a 9-hour route. Oh, because we're saying about now Amazon are actually making you stop for lunch, because they didn't make you stop for lunch. Nice catch says, on a 9-hour route, the Amazon app interrupts you at some point during your deliveries and says take a break, but there is a button with it saying continue anyway. I always click the continue, because if I didn't, I would have failed finishing in time if I took the break. So basically saying if he took the break, he wouldn't have actually made all his deliveries in time. I was never the fastest for sure. Some people might take a break, but it is only advisory and it doesn't stop you from delivering, which I kind of think I'd rather have that. I'm limited in my lorry by driving hours, and a lot of the times, I mean, I've had situations recently where I'm like 10 minutes away from home and I've run out I'm like 4 minutes 29 on my clock, and I've had to stop, and I've had to stop for half an hour, and I'm thinking, now I've got to stop for half an hour and I can drive for 10 minutes. I understand they're there to keep people safe. I understand the rules are there for a reason, but I also think I'd have been fine to drive those next 10 minutes and I would have got home 3/4 an hour earlier. Then I'd have had a longer break between when I finished and when I started the next day. But, these things are limited. I personally, if it was me, I would work through my breaks as well, because I know you guys are up against it, running the thing. That, there are ways and means of finding quicker ways, but all power to you. Domain name guy, he says multi-drop is all about pace and planning your day properly. He's dead right there. Make sure you plan for your dinner break, etc. Again, if you're going to, it goes on about making videos for YouTube that I do. It doesn't take long, But yeah, but he's dead right. It is in the planning. Yeah, you need it planned properly. You need it organised. I've done runs for. As I said before, I haven't done much multi-drop, but I did Parcel Force, and the frustrating thing about that was delivering to one shop at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then finishing the run at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and realising I was putting up at a house. I didn't know the area; it's Northampton, and looking across the road and going, I was there 5 hours ago. If I'd have got this right, I'd have dropped that parcel, dropped this parcel. They just planned me in a massive circle. But the frustration is by planning me in a massive circle, it's taken me down one side of the road on the run in and down the other side of the road on the way out. And that's just ridiculous. It should have stopped me and I could have gone bum, 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 bum. It almost should have planned me in a line and then gone, you're finished, go home. But again, this is why you need a decent road planner, because otherwise you're going to get stuck like me. TML136 said Yodel are just as bad. We talk about Amazon, just firms in general. Yodel are just as bad. I used to work there on the loading bays. When I was there, one of the van drivers broke down and told me, one of the van drivers broke down. They told him he had to rent a van or don't come back. It's not the way to be, is it? I mean, most of the people I know, most of the delivery drivers I know are actually reasonably happy with it. All the Amazon centres I go into, when I was working at Argos, they were happy. When I go into Amazons to deliver my pallets, to the RDCs, they're happy. But sometimes I read these things and I despair. Steve Campbell says, I am now doing multi-drops, sort of. This is nefarious, Steve Campbell. I wonder what's coming next. I am settled in Coultons. I have 2 routes Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Friday's a Hartlepool run, which is 2 drops in Newcastle, both being hospitals, and down the A19 to my local shops, 2 drops in my village, 2 drops in the next village, and 9 drops in Hartlepool, then back to base in Gateshead, Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays, and late runs, 4 drops. Okay, well, good luck. I say, if you've got a regular run, it's not so much of a problem, but I'd still have the app on the phone, because you can store the runs. So you go Monday, click, and it shows you where you're going. Tuesday, click. And another thing I like about Circuit is it actually goes in with Waze. So it will tell you what your runs are, but it will also automatically upload to Waze, which means you've got live traffic. So if you think, well, I know where I'm going, I'll go this way anyway, and then you look down and you think, oh, you get a load of traffic. If you put the run in on your phone, then you automatically upload it to Waze, and Waze suddenly says, put off at this junction. Something's going on here. And it will, it saves you so much time. I know I go on about it, but I believe it. So, there we go. Steve Bradley Courier Vlog says, I've done it, never again. 120 day for 120-ish drops, no sorry. 3 localish drops on the CX, £35 a pop, you're nearly there. Your 4th job, instead of 160, I know what he's saying, I'd rather get like £105 a day for 3 drops than £160 a day for £120 a day for 160 drops. Imagine doing 157 drops for an extra 15 quid. It doesn't. Multi-drops sometimes don't compute. Saying that, if you need to work, fair enough, drive safe, people. And this is exactly my point. Not everybody's in a position where they can jump straight on a CX. I was lucky. I managed to get myself a factoring company. I had a bit of oomph behind me. But if you want to do the couriering thing and you've got a van and you need a way of building up the dough, there are worse things. Just be prepared. It's baptism by fire. Get your head down. You can do it. Mark Levant says, I did Amazon Flex. This is where Circuit really comes in. It's like in the car time, I did Amazon Flex, first 30 to 40 stops in a car on a 3.5 route. 3.5 hour route, sorry, usually completed in 2 hours. Then I went to work for a DSP at Amazon Leeds. First couple of weeks on training routes went fine, but as soon as I got on the full routes, 250 plus stops at Christmas, that's coming, we'll do a video on that. I told them where to go, as I was more bothered about delivering quality rather than quantity, and I would never actually finish a full route. Now I do a multi-drop in my own small transit courier for Yodel, 80p a package, 100 packages a day. First few months were okay, finishing a 7-hour route in 6-ish hours, but the past week has been a nightmare. It's probably got me losing my motivation to get out of the van 100 times a day. Like I say, you are up against it with a multi-drop. It is hard work. Do everything you possibly can to make your life easier. Benny Hill says it's true about the quality, because he says some residents, like older ladies and gentlemen, like a chat with us a bit at the door, which is normal. I found myself in many 2 to 5 minute conversations during the first 2 weeks. Some colleagues are not happy that residents like to talk to them, slowing them down. But that was the wrong way of looking at it. The corporation only wants to squeeze you and does not care about human interactions. It is up to us to draw the line and say no. No way. That will deprive myself of healthy and pleasant occasional conversation like a normal human being to meet the corporation's expectations. Such an approach would lead to the controlled corporational technocratical disposing society which globalists hope one day to achieve. No, they won't, mate, because one day they're going to be doing it with robots. I know. It's an interesting book about it. Available in Amazon. But he's dead right in what he says, which is it's up. The truth of the matter is, it's up to you. I mean, sometimes I'm sitting there and I'm talking to a guy, and I'm thinking, I can go home now. But you think, I can spare 5 minutes of my life. I can spend 10 minutes of my life, and you have a little chat. And at the end of the day, hopefully, it makes you feel better. Hopefully, it makes him feel better. It makes the world a lighter place. It is a problem when you're looking at your watch thinking, I've got to get up another 96 parcels, it's getting dark, and this guy wants to talk to me about the bin collections. But yeah, I know, if it was me, I'm going to talk to you about the bin collections, and I'll just have to get myself a powerful torch. Domain name guy, he says, as an ex-multi-driver that could float across 12 routes, because presumably knew the routes very well, etc. Any driver currently doing a multi-drop that's passed their car test before 1997, this is to do with trucks and stuff like that and digital tachographs. But what he's saying is, if you've passed your car test before 1997 and you do 35 hours worth of training, get yourself a CPC card, which I've got, you can then jump into a 7.5 ton. If you jump into a 7.5 ton, you can then get £12 to £14 an hour doing the multi-drops and 7.5 ton. And 7.5 ton drop multi-drops don't seem to be quite so scary, because they tend to be much more, rather than like 100 to 100, 160, 180 parcels, it's much more like load up 10 pallets, drop them to 5 different places, go back to base, load up another 10 pallets, drop them off to 5 or 6 different places, then go home. Because you're done, your day's done, your card's done, your time's done, and you're out of time, and the places are shut. So it is the more drops, the more difficult it is. I did one last week, which was out of Mini Clipper. 6 drops around sort of the Watford area. It was fine. And then, you've done your 6 drop and you go home and you get your money for it. So if you're on the multi-drop and you've got you're old like me and you've got an old licence, maybe getting yourself a CPC might be worth thinking about. And the final word today goes from Jeremy Hawke, who says, well done, Pete. I think everybody should start on a multi-drop. The baptism by fire will get you ready for the future in the industry, giving yourself good understanding of how the 24/7 networks operate. It will give you some valuable knowledge. If you're on with someone like FedEx, you will gain some knowledge of internal consignments. It's all valuable stuff. Everything we do in this is, I've been on a long learning curve with the whole thing. No. So if you want to be a courier and you haven't really got the scratch to jump on the exchange, and the exchange has done me well. But if you're going for your Amazon, or you're going for your Hermes, or your Yodel, or your Argos, or you're doing your Amazon Flex in a car, get yourself prepared. I mean, there's loads of others. There is another channel, the Circuit channel, has got a lot of videos which I make for them. They employ me to make for them, but it's much more focused on multi-drop drivers rather than what we really focus on this channel, which tends to be just general courier driving, trucks and things like that. So please check out the channel. Like I say, they support me and I'm happy to support them. I think their app is very, very good. And there's loads. I'll be making more videos in the future about things like that, but that's kind of it. That's Multi-Drop Monthly. Any more comments on multi-drops, please bring them in, because it helps the monthly thing going along and we can keep the chat going. So basically, if you are on the Amazon, you're on the Hermes, interesting stories about things that's gone on, any helpful tips and advice that you can give, I will do what I always do in this kind of like forum and just share them, and that way we all get to share the information. It makes the world a better place, I think. So that's it. See you for Multi-Drop Monthly next month. Take care, take money.